Hello everyone, and today we're back into another top 5, and today we're talking about the top 5 busted Loomians in all of Loomian Legacy. This is technically the remake of top 5 broken Loomians. That was probably my first top 5 ever made, but I renamed it to Busted. So yeah, these are Loomians that are absolutely broken and are almost impossible to defeat. So let's head right onto this list right about now. So number 5 on this list is not broken, but it has a really OP ability, and it's Imperial. Well, Imperial stats and moves doesn't make it that busted. It's mainly its ability, Resentful. Resentful is when if you're knocked out, you will deal equal damage to the opposing Loomian as revenge. So if you're at full health and you go up against something like a Terraclaw, for example, that Terraclaw, you hit it with the Boom Bash and get it down, I don't know, a fourth of its health. The Terraclaw then clicks Parasitize. You lose all your health, and then Terraclaw loses all its health. So if that Terraclaw one-shots your Imperial, that Terraclaw goes down with it. You can also do the same thing. You can swap into its Eclipse, trap its Eclipse, take out its Eclipse. You do have to sack Imperial in order to make the Resentful work, and that's why it is only number 5 and not higher. But the Resentful ability alone makes Imperial absolutely busted. And while it's not the most busted Loomian in the entire game, it definitely can be busted at times, because Imperial doesn't have many great matchups most of the time. So getting rid of a not great matchup against their best Loomian could ultimately change the game better for the long run. And that's why Imperial is even on the list. It's very good and it's very powerful, but it's only number 5. The number 4 busted Loomian is actually going to be Tundralin. And yes, this was originally number 1 in the top 5 broken Loomians. And it's still pretty busted. Although, there is another resilience user that we're going to be talking about that took its crown. But that doesn't mean that Tundralin isn't busted. It has Body Crash, Resilience, Rejuvenate. Alright. How did this Loomian get past the drawing board? It is said that Resilience is going to get nerfed, so only contact moves are able to improve Resilience, which will be a nice nerf for Tundralin. But even then, Tundralin is still very busted. Once it gets a couple plus melee boost, it can be almost impossible to KO on the melee side. And Tundralin has decent enough range bolt that it can live a range neutral hit when you need it to. That's why Tundralin is so broken. It hits very hard, has bulk up, can heal, and once its melee defense is so high, it's going to be almost impossible to take out. And that's why Tundralin is one of the most broken Loomians in the entire game. The only reason it's out of the top 3, though, is because there's, like I said, there's another resilience user that is more busted than Tundralin. We'll get to them in a second. But Tundralin is still absolutely busted. And you'll be able to get one again pretty soon. So yeah, good luck on that. Number 3 onto this list might shock a lot of people, but it's actually going to be Cosmere Cracked. This Loomian is cracked. I am serious. It has amazing bulk on both sides, 76 speed, which is amazing for a tank, and really high range attack stat. This is the Loomian that can pretty much do anything. It has setup, it has slumber to heal, and while it cannot hit metal types, its defenses are so high. If you can get 1 or 2 piece of minds, you can pretty much live any hit in the entire game. Especially with its ability Enchanted Coat. Enchanted Coat makes it so you can live pretty much almost any super effective hit, which is nuts. You can also run Regive so the traps get pushed back to the opposing team. That makes Cosmere Cracked really OP. You can run Raidful Plushie so your attack is really high and you can just nuke everything in the game. Like, Cosmere Cracked has clutched up in this battle. This was a 2v4, and the Cosmere clutched up in every single opportunity. And this might be one of the best counters for Obsidragon. We'll get to Obsidragon later, but Cosmere Cracked is one of the most busted Loomians in the entire game. Honestly, all the Cosmere forms could be considered being put on the list, but I went for the Cracked form because it does a bit of everything, and Unleashed form does lose a little bit of bulk, which that's the reason why I put the Cracked form onto this list. And yeah, Cosmere Crack definitely deserves to be up here. Number 2 onto the list is actually going to be Teclipse. Teclipse is busted, and it's annoying, and it's boring. It has Dark Light offense, which can hit anything for at least neutral damage. Total Eclipse gives it more immunities and weaknesses. And if you get hit by a Dark or Light type move, you get a speed boost. People always talk about how good its Dark immunity is, which makes sense. I mean, Dark immunity, you get +1 boost. It's the only Loomian with a Dark immunity in the game. But its Light immunity is just as precious because Obsidian is a busted Loomian. So you have Teclipse to pretty much counteract that Light weakness. So yeah, this can be countered with another busted Loomian, which makes Teclipse even more busted. And that's the thing. You can't just worry about Teclipse. You can pretty much say that for anything on this list, but you can't just worry about Teclipse. You gotta worry about the team that is built around Teclipse. That's what makes Teclipse so busted. And since it can pretty much hit anything in the game for at least neutral damage, the only Loomians in the game that can fully counter Teclipse are range tanks that are only neutral to its attacks, while also having high enough range defense and high enough bulk in order to live multiple Dark Surges. There's almost no swap-ins for Teclipse in the entire game. The honorable mentions on this list are going to be the 2 Ubers, Mutagon. Yeah, Mutagon is broken. Brawn boost, Quick Punch. And I did keep this out of top 5 melee attackers, by the way. I kept it out because, you know, it's an Uber. We already know how OP Mutagon is. Brawn boost, Quick Punch, you win. Tank version, you can run Rachel Plushie. For the regular version, you run Power Cuffs, and you just nuke anything in the entire game. But Mutagon, since it's an Uber, it's an honorable mention. The second honorable mention is going to be Ursul, and just like Mutagon, it's an Uber, and that's the reason that it was not in the top five melee attackers, and that's why it's only an honorable mention on this list. This thing has double priority, and is one of the hardest hitting melee attackers in the entire game. This thing is OP. The only reason, like I said, it's not on the list, it's because it's an Uber and everyone knows how powerful it is. And the most busted Loomian in the entire game is Obsidian. Remember when Tundralin was number 4 and it was really busted? Well, Obsidian is even more busted. Really high melee defense, really good bulk, decent enough range defense to even tank hits on the range side, body crash, resilience. Beast Slumber gives it +1 melee defense and +1 range defense. Keep in mind, this lived multiple hits from a Gargolem attack form. Gargolem attack form. And in this clip, my team gets swept by an Obsidian, who was down all the way in the red, but got all its health back from Beast Slumber. And I still had a Zeppelin alive, which had Turbulent, Air Essence, 200 range TPs, and Smart. Still not enough against the Obsidian, though. It can live +6 Avatros hits. It can live +5 Blowtox hits. You could set up all the way on your melee attackers, and it will still not be enough. It has Ancient Stab for Spirit types, and I think Obsidian takes the cake for the most busted Loomian in the entire game by a long shot, and has quickly became one of the most hated Loomians in the game because of it as well. It's busted, it's hated, it's annoying, and I absolutely despise it. So yeah, Obsidian, the most busted Loomian in the entire game. And here it is, Obsidian, the most busted Loomian in the entirety of Loomian Legacy. I hope you guys enjoyed this top 5 most busted Loomians. This is probably a remake of my first ever video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!